Hi guys, I've left things to the last minute again.
Scruffy Crow.
Okay, it is the Friday night before Oathmark Winter's Embrace, the second time I've run a Oathmark Games Day here in Nottingham. And for one of the scenarios, I've written that we fight some wandering Yetis. So every table needs a pair of Yetis. We've had some last minute additions to the player count, and obviously I hadn't finished these as it was, but we're rapidly getting a couple more ready. So these are 3D prints from Epic Miniatures. I'll drop links in the descriptions where you can get these if you fancy them. And these are just glued on some of the cheapest sort of 50mm flat 2mm MDF bases I could find on eBay. Rules wise, these guys will be Ichi, but I think I'm going to somewhat pump up the survivability of them a little bit. And they're not meant to vastly change the game, just be a bit of a road bump. So we've got some PVA on them, a little bit of gravel for a bit of variation, and then straight in the sand. My aim with these guys is to get them table ready as quickly as possible. So again, like last time I ran one of these events, these guys are going to be all painted pretty much with contrast paints. An advantage I have last time is I have got this Colourforge white bone now, which gives me this off-white colour, which is a good base for the contrasts. Okay, so straight after being undercoated, this is what they look like. Nice coat of off-white. And then first paint is this Apothecary white. What I have noticed is it doesn't look amazing as it goes on initially, but it certainly dries better. So just trust the process. I'm slapping that all over because the flesh parts isn't much darker paint, so I'm not trying to be too neat at this point, just get all of the fur. And I've got a nice large brush here, so I'm just stopping any pooling, spreading that around nice and evenly. Okay, while this layer has been drying a little bit, I've just gone and made sure I've got all of the brown, which is just Rhinox hide, touched up on these bases. I was doing that with quite a large sort of makeup brush, and we've got some quite thinned down Rhinox hide here. We're putting almost black on these rocks. I don't mind. This is not the order I did them in before, but we shouldn't have that much problem with these two. It's a little bit more tricky with this sculpt because you have to get in and around the fingers and stuff. And as you can see, because the paint's thinned down, it is a little bit almost too transparent. But I think that's probably going to work to our advantage. I'm going to cover a bit of that up anyway. But even with those ones, big brush to get the bigger swathes of the base. And then I'll go in with a sort of smaller worn out old brush just to smash into any corners. Okay, everything's not quite dry yet, but we're going to push on with this. Next up is the Guilliman contrast. And I'm just being a little bit more delicate here. I've got a nice big brush, but it's a proper sort of, it's a nice Rosemary & Co one. And I'm just getting the bottom lip here. We're being quite generous with the amount of paint because I want it to do a lot of work in one coat. I want it to get into all the cracks, and I'm just pushing it with the end of the bristles into the hairline. And I think if I was doing something a bit more sensible, I'd probably try and water this down a tad. But actually for this, that's perfect. That's exactly what we want. And again on the hands, but we can be a little bit more ruthless here. Now on some of these, it's not always entirely clear where sort of I would class the fur as ending and the hands from starting. You could probably paint them all one colour. But my main concern painting these today is going to be just making sure we don't have any undercoat showing. So that means the two colours just sort of meet up at least. And the contrast is quite good for that, for making like a nice dark line in there. And I'm just having to remove some of this pooling under here, pulling some off with the brush, drying the brush off a bit, pull a bit more out. But even though that is still wet down there, we should be able to just throw on our next contrast. The darker flesh colours mostly overpowering the greys there. And we're also, I'm going to get these abs sections. I quite like that look. So we've just got a little bit less of the wash on, and I'm mostly just trying to sort of just highlight those. I think other than just sort of having a bit more variation on the model, I think that makes the fur pop a little bit more when you've got these parts that aren't the same colour. I think it's worth doing, especially as it really is only a few little brush strokes to get that tucked in. So the last contrast is this Basilicum Grey. We're giving this a good mix, try and get all that out at the bottom. And on this sculpt, we're looking at this big rock. And again, the dark contrast should completely overpower any bits of that flesh we have. Drag it fairly evenly. It's not ideal for something like this. This rock could have a bit more texture to it. But we do get some sort of variation. And I don't want to push this around too much with the brush. I want it to kind of sort of level out and do its own thing a little bit. But there we go. I'm not going to dry brush these or anything else. It's more or less going to be the finished rock look. We've got a thin border around here, between the earth and the snow, where we also want it. Okay, so all the rest of them I've caught up now, and I'm just using this enormous makeup brush to dry brush the Rhinox hide with this Guncorpse Brown. And it doesn't matter if we get a little on the rocks because it's all earth, and earth isn't tidy. I've also, since I started this video, popped over to the Leadbelt Games Arena, the venue for tomorrow's event, and helped get the tables cleared of sort of 40k regalia and switched over to something a bit more fantasy appropriate, as well as quickly prepping some armies for me and my other half. So we're all ready to go in the morning as well. So I really did leave a few things to the last minute. Okay, so I'm going to jump straight from that back to a more regular sized paintbrush and some black, coal black paint, because I'm just going to neaten up these edges, make that nice and clean and tidy. And it shouldn't take me too long to do all of these. And I like these Pro-Kill paints because they've got really good coverage. I mean, obviously black normally does anyway, but they also dry super matte, so that kind of is nice for base edges, I think, sometimes. It also should dry relatively fast, so these will be ready for the next stage as soon as I've finished doing this to them all. Okay, so I think that's pretty much the paint work done. I think we're going to finish these guys off with a bit of basing. So first thing is I'm going to use this frosted static grass, and we're going to do some random patches of that. Like everything on these so far, it's going to be pretty quick and dirty. We've got some PVA, we've got a big old brush, and I'm just going to splotch on. And anywhere where we had a bit of problem, like, I don't know, with the basing, or I've missed a bit of paint, or just anything I didn't like, we can now use this, the first opportunity, to cover that up. I'm going to mix this up a bit, and as you can see, it's sort of white flecks and green flecks all sort of mixed in. Take clumps of it, press it in, that's always what finds best. Tap off the excess and give it a bit of a blow. And I find a little bit of a blow across it tends to make it stand up on end. And yeah, that's basically going to be stage one. And we're going to try this without the grass drying because it's late and I want to go to bed. A lot more PVA. I've been using this Gale Force 9 snow for ages. This has lasted me years, and I don't seem to be able to track down any more of this. I really like the way it looks, and it's like a crushed plastic, like almost like a polythene. But although I do want snow on these, I don't want to use that. So I've picked up this, which looks different, but it is what is available now. It's the Army Painter Battlefield Snow, and I've never used this before, but I'm just going to assume that it will work the way I used to use that. So we're going to get this PVA here, and we're going to tip a bunch of this into it. And I've got an old sculpting tool here. I'm going to get this nice and mixed up. That looks about the right consistency. So it's got plenty of bulk to it. I might add a bit more snow. But I want it so it's kind of chunky while I'm mixing it, but then smooths out, because I want it to move when I put it on the bases. So I'm just going to lay this in patches on the base. And in theory, I mean, really, I should test this on a little bit and try it out later. So doing it this way should give my snow some sort of thickness and sort of thing, and it should sort of self-level out. And then to make it look suitably fluffy, I should just be able to get another pinch of the same snow and pour that on top. Shake off any excess, and that should give us nice plush snow sat on top of the grass. It's going quite wet here as this sort of snow soaks through, so I might have to do another little sprinkle and I might add a bit more snow to the mix. I'm also going to use this all over these sort of top bits here. I should be able to more or less just paint this on with the edge of the brush, well, with the edge of this sculpting tool. Obviously this much PVA is going to take a little bit of time to dry, so we'll not know if this has fully worked until the morning when it's far too late. Morning guys, we are at the Leadbelt Game Arena and games are underway. We have 8 tables of players this morning, currently starting the first scenario, including my army, all laid out here. So, scenario 2 has started. Snowdrifts have appeared on the table as the storm grows. We've just got back off lunch. Everyone still seems to be in pretty good spirits. So we're starting turn 3. In this scenario, there's a chance that people might drop through the ice. So this is the last scenario of the day, and also the one that features the lovely Yetis we've been painting. The snow hadn't quite dried by the morning, but was more or less good to go by about 2 PM when this scenario started. So I think we got away with it. And that's all for this video. Please let me know what you thought down in the comments. Maybe subscribe for more. And as ever, thanks for watching. Bye.